So I'm back. New year. I've finally made a new video. Halfway, well, it's the end of January, isn't it? Yeah. Well, this will be, well, actually, when you see this, it'll be February by the time I've finished editing it. But yes, I'm back. Some of you are probably thinking, where the hell have you been? As such is my life. It's always full of drama. There's always something going on. But in a nutshell, I'm moving house. I'm hoping to be out by March, April. Okay, once I've got the money together. And in case you're wondering, he's back as well. Didn't you? Hey, why'd you have to get the claws out? You can't do that to me. I love you. You're supposed to love me. Yeah, go on then. Right, but anyway, look, onto the video. That's the most important thing. Today we're going to do Peter's Granny's cheese pudding. Now you might be wondering who Peter is. You also might be wondering, well, what's his Granny's cheese pudding? But cast your minds back just before Christmas. I kind of put a post out asking you to submit your kind of childhood favourites, you know, sort of dinners that your parents made you, your grandparents, and things that you just remember having as a child, your favourites. And this is one of them. We did Sally's mum's corned beef ash, and this is Peter's Granny's cheese pudding. Anyway, before we dive into this, do the usual thing, like, share and subscribe. So without further ado, let's get down here and make this cheese pudding from Peter's Granny. First things first, the important slurp. Dry January's going well, isn't it? Right, to make this cheese pudding, so we need 500 ml of milk. Now, for my American friends out there, you might be thinking cheese pudding, because obviously puddings means dessert for you guys. A pudding here can mean both, they're interchangeable. So you get things like steak and kidney pudding, which is like a savoury sort of steam pudding. And also we get sweet puddings, like sticky toffee pudding. So they're interchangeable. Don't get confused. It's a savoury dish, obviously because it's got cheese and egg and bread in it. So there's our milk. Now when Peter sent me the recipe, all the dry ingredients came in cups. Because here in the UK we don't usually use cups as measurements. But luckily I remembered I got these, which Cheryl, long-time subscriber, sent these to me about a year ago now. She sent Mog some treats as well, and I've got some other bits and pieces, so I'm glad I've got this so I can actually measure it in cups. If you want to work in metric, I'll put that in the description below as well. So what I need to do now is make some breadcrumbs, grate the cheese, and then we can make it. I've also preheated the oven to 190 degrees C, which is what's about gas mark 5-ish. I'll put the conversions up. But yeah, preheat your oven, get it nice and hot. We'll get this stuff grated. All right, so everything's kind of grated and whizzed up. My eggs there, got breadcrumbs, got other bits and pieces we need to put in it. So it's basically just a case of kind of putting it in this bowl. So we want 2 cups of fresh breadcrumbs. I think I've whizzed up too many there, but that's fine. If you've got too many breadcrumbs, all you can do is just put them in a freezer bag, as is, stick them in the freezer, and then you can use them straight from frozen for coating your fish, chicken, whatever you want. There's 2 cups of that. The cheese I've already measured out, so that can go in. Get the old salt and pep. You didn't say how much, but you know, just go by what you want really. So a good few twists of the pepper mill. Some salt again, just to taste. Then I'm going to add a teaspoon of mustard powder. I suppose you could use like just ordinary mustard if you wanted. It said a splash of Worcester sauce, so I'm going to go in with a few splashes of that. I'm going to go in with the eggs, and then the milk. In it goes. And then all it says is to mix that up lightly with a fork. So let's get on with it. So I'm just going to mix all of this up. Make sure those eggs are nicely beaten. Well, I guess that's the consistency we're looking for. I don't know. What I'm going to do now, get it into a dish. Right, so what I'm going to do then is pour this into this sort of casserole dish. There it is. There's our cheese pudding, the raw mix. And that is ready to go in the oven. So let's get it in. So as per Peter's instructions, that's going to take about an hour. So it's nice and golden brown on top. I imagine it's going to kind of souffle up a bit as well. With the eggs in now, so the milk's going to soak into the breadcrumbs. I don't know what kind of texture it's meant to be when it's cooked. I assume it's going to be a bit like a souffle. It's going to be soft and almost omelette-like, I suppose. I don't know. We'll see when it's cooked. So I'm going to give that about an hour on 190 degrees C. Again, I'll put the conversions up on the screen. And he says until it's golden brown on top, but not burnt. I'm going to do your granny proud, Peter, I promise. He agrees.
More moments later.
Look at that, boys and girls. It smells absolutely wonderful. Now it looks quite soft. Look at that. Bloop, 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 bloop. So yeah, it is kind of like a souffle. I hope that's kind of cooked right. You have to let me know, Peter, but that's been in the oven for just over an hour actually, about an hour and 10 minutes. But look, we know the score. Right, that's going to be hotter than Satan's bum crack, so I'm not going to tuck into that yet. So let it calm down a bit, let it just kind of settle, give it a couple of minutes, and then I'll try it. Now it has collapsed quite a lot. It's sort of settled down because it, you know, really souffled up quite high. It has sort of caught on the bottom a bit. That's probably my fault. There we go, look. Sort of like a frittata, omelette-y sort of texture. Now when Peter sent me this recipe, he suggested having beans with it and a cold glass of cider. I haven't got those, so I'm having it on its own. Let's give it a go. Peter's Granny's cheese pudding. Yes. That is glorious. That is really nice. It's got a very light texture, you know? It's nice and airy, super, super savoury. I probably added a bit too much salt, to be fair. That's my fault. It's cheesy, it's creamy, but it's light. It's not like an omelette. It's not as heavy as an omelette. It's just nice and light. Your granny knew what she was doing, didn't she, Peter? Look how cheap it was. I mean, that cost next to nothing. I mean, it's milk, a couple of eggs, bit of cheese, some breadcrumbs, bit of seasonings in there. But the results, absolutely smashing. Make it. So there we have it. First video of 2022. We made Peter's Granny's cheese pudding. What do you reckon? Smell the cheese, can't you? You can't have it, buddy. You'll give you like your heart attack or something. Such a loaf, aren't you? Oh, sorry. You want to go down? There we go. So a massive thank you to Peter and his granny for this amazing little recipe. I'm on my second portion already. But listen, I'm going to bugger off. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ta. No, buddy, no.